Have you ever stopped to wonder how TensorFlow actually, well, thinks? It's not like a regular program that just runs line by line. Today, we are going to break down its core logic by building a simple computational graph. And to make it all click, we'll borrow some really helpful ideas from the world of databases. So, how does TensorFlow tackle a problem? Well, if you're used to code that just executes from top to bottom, you kind of have to flip your thinking. Classic TensorFlow has two separate phases. First, you have to define this entire blueprint for all your calculations. We call that the computational graph. And only after that blueprint is completely laid out does it actually run anything or compute a single value. All right, let's start with the absolute simplest thing you can imagine. What if you have a value that's totally fixed? You know, a number that's not going to change at all during your calculation. How do you even represent that in your graph?
For that, you use a TF constant. Honestly, the name says it all. It's a tensor whose value is completely unchangeable. Once you declare it, that value is set in stone for the entire run of that graph.
And making one is just as easy as it looks. You just define a tensor, we're calling it x here, and tell it to be a TF.constant with a specific value. In this case, the number 5. Simple as that.
Now, for any of you out there with a database background, here's a great way to think about this. A TF.constant is basically the same as a literal value that you'd hardcode directly into a SQL query. It's just a fixed, known value that's not going anywhere. Okay, so that's cool for fixed values. But, the whole point of machine learning is to learn, right? So what about the values that absolutely need to change during the process, like the weights in a neural network?
For that job, TensorFlow gives us the TF.variable. A variable holds a value that is specifically made to be updated. This thing is the real workhorse for holding the state of your model while it's training and getting smarter.
Now here's a key difference with variables. There's an extra step. You give it a starting value, sure, but you also have to add this initializer operation to the graph. This is a super important concept. You have to remember to explicitly run this initializer later on to actually set the variable's starting value before you can do anything with it.
So, to bring back our database analogy, a TF variable is pretty much like a value sitting in a table cell. It has a state that sticks around inside a session, and different operations can come along and update it, just like how different transactions can update a row in your database.
All right, so we've got constants for fixed values and variables for things that learn. But what about the most common situation of all? How do we feed in external data, like our training images, that's going to be different every single time we run the graph?
The answer in this classic TensorFlow world is the TF.placeholder. Think of a placeholder as a promise. You're basically telling the graph, hey, I promise a value is going to show up here later, right when we execute, but I don't know what it is just yet. And the most important thing to see here is actually what's missing. When you declare a placeholder, you define its data type, like a float, and its shape, but you don't give it any initial value. That part comes way later, when you actually run the graph. And this right here is the final piece of our database puzzle. A placeholder is exactly like a parameter in a prepared SQL statement, or a stored procedure. You define the logic of the query once, but you can run it again and again, just supplying a different value for that parameter each time. So, we've got our blueprint, we have our constants, our variables, and our placeholders all set up. The graph is built, now what? How in the world do we actually run this thing and get a result? This older TensorFlow workflow is really strict. You've got to follow these 3 steps always in this order. First, you build the graph, which is what we've been doing. Second, you create something called a session. And third, you run your graph's operations inside that session. The TF session is really the magic ingredient here. It's the live environment where your abstract graph blueprint finally comes to life. It's what goes and grabs the computing resources and actually holds the real concrete values of all your variables. The main way to make anything happen is with ses.run. You pass an operation or a tensor from your graph into ses.run, and it'll figure out all the calculations it needs to do and give you back the final value. And see there, you have to run our init operation first.
Now, you might also see this eval method floating around. Don't let it throw you off. It's just a handy shortcut. Calling eval on a tensor is exactly the same thing as passing that tensor to ses.run. It's really just a way to save a little bit of typing. So there you have it. Those are the fundamental building blocks of TensorFlow's classic graph setup. Constants for your fixed values, variables for your trainable parameters, and placeholders for your input data. And it all comes to life inside a session. Even though modern TensorFlow often hides these details, really understanding this core workflow is the key to getting how these powerful frameworks work under the hood.
If this breakdown was helpful, let us know by liking this explainer and subscribing for more. Now that you've seen the foundational pieces, the possibilities are pretty much endless. So, the only question left is, what will you build first?